Welcome back, everybody. Gonna be doing some more Minecraft today. um, I think this is going to be the second time we're on here, and I found out a lot since last time. Um, I guess I'll go through this more in depth when I get the chance. But long story short, as it turns out, this server does have like custom commands and whatnot. I'm not really sure how they're achieving this, if it's genuinely the default Minecraft server jar. But, there's a lot of shit that we have the ability to do in here. And I don't really know necessarily what I want to do with this yet. Uh, no abusive chat, no annoying chat, blah, blah, blah. Cool, cool, cool. Tips, game mode, toggle sounds, tutorial version. I just want to play around with this for a quick second, cause tips, toggle. I haven't actually seen like any of what this at server origin. I wonder what that does. Huh. Okay. FAQ. For a challenge is the whole no blah blah blah. Where's land? That's a secret. How far away is land? It might be closer than you think. Yeah, well, we found that out the hard way. Direction should I go? Going north. I mean, I guess we did. Be creative. Can someone TP me? Where's everybody? Is this really vanilla? Alright. Well. Let's see what there is to do. So, my goal right now, just because I think it's going to be where we're going to find, if we're going to find anything, we're going to find it there, is to get to the world origin at 0, 0. That's a pretty generation. There's also some water over there. We might be able to go a little faster if we travel by boat. But my goal right now is to get over there and just kind of see what's what. Because we've only really seen, I think, thus far, like, some guy's shitty cobble horse stable. And I'm going to be honest with you, I was kind of hoping for a little more than that. So, I guess there isn't really enough water to justify getting in the boat and whatnot. But it is what it is. We'll keep it on us just in case. I wish I didn't lose that bucket way back when. That would have been that probably would have been good to keep on us. And we're also going to need some food very soon. I didn't really think ahead and pack enough berries for the trip. Such is typical. Although, I guess we can get some wool. Oh, we do have mutton, though. Or did we just get that from the sheep? I wasn't paying attention, my bad. Just need one more wool, although I don't think you're gonna do it. Maybe we can make bone meal and then dye it white. We don't have bones, though. I was kind of hoping to be able to make another bed, because we're like 3,000 blocks from where we last were. I had originally planned to do like a sort of creeping march where we would... Oh, I'm a fool. where we would go, you know, back and forth between our previous two beds and just, you know, use that as sort of a way to safely advance. But I don't know, that just seems like really boring to me. So we're not going to do that. Oh, well, there's a witch, but I'm not really interested in getting my ass poisoned today, so we're just gonna keep walking and pretend we didn't see it. Although, I think those structures typically have, some form of chest or another in there, so it might have been a good opportunity for loot. Not sure. Why don't the pigs have eyes? I'm not going to go investigate, but that's a little off-putting to me, to say the least. Oh. Some steak could be good too, I suppose. Really, as long as we can keep getting food, I think we'll be fine. I don't know what we're going to do for nighttime arrangements. I mean, don't get me wrong, we don't necessarily have to, like, go fighting anything. As long as we have a bed on our person, I mean, that's kind of a non-issue, I suppose. We can just kind of, you know, sleep every time nighttime comes around and, you know, not have to deal with it. Although I am a little worried about going into the mines again and trying to get iron and whatnot, because I don't know if you were around last time, but like it wasn't the best. I'm very much used to playing Minecraft in like a populated multiplayer setting. Like I've most of my survival Minecraft experience has come from like the faction servers of old, you know? So suddenly having like the entirety of the Minecraft spawn cap dumped on me on the hardest difficulty in a darkly lit place was not the ideal circumstance to say the least. But you know, oh, hold up. Looks like someone's been here. Or at least, you know, close to here. I wonder if that marks anything, or if it's just, like, some dude trying not to get eaten by zombies. I mean, don't get me wrong, I know it's not the most exciting development, but, like, to me, this is fucking gold. Like, this is probably some of the only proof that, you know, I haven't been playing this alone the whole time. Or at least, I wonder if they logged out up there. So, I should probably note, one of the other things I found after last stream on this server is that if you go to this server and you hit it in a web browser on port 9000, they have what seems to be a custom bot that kind of like tracks server history and whatnot. So what that means is, we have a pretty complete list of like all of the PvP that's happened on this server for the past, I think, 11 years or so. There's a bunch of player heads that have like their last messages sent before they logged out. There's a history of the server topics, which is honestly pretty funny to see because at some point, geez. Sorry about that. At some point, the player base seems to have migrated to another server, or at least there was an attempt to, although there's still a fair bit of activity after the fact, so I assume it wasn't a entirely successful migration. I think there was some factionry going around because there were people that were killing a bunch of other people with a strikingly similarly named set of gear. Alright, so here's about the point where we start to figure out sleeping arrangements. I wonder if I can just... Damn, I thought that was going to be a lot harder than it was. Although I guess there's still zombies we've got to watch out for until we, until the sun comes up proper. Anyhow, what was I saying? Right, and also, like, people still seem to play, at least not... Like, we're at least not getting 0 players a day on average. Maybe we're getting, like, half a player a day. On the first day I logged into the server, it actually happens that someone was playing only a couple of hours beforehand. So that was kind of cool to see. I'm glad to know that, like, you know, we're still at least getting some player base here. There was also a guy, I think, playing yesterday, but I just wasn't online in time to, like, get in and see him. I don't really know where people are finding this. Because, like... It's on server lists, which I guess gives it some form of visibility. But it's not like upvoted at all. Like, you really have to go digging to try and find this server. And I don't even think that filtering specifically by this server version, 1.20.4, is going to be enough to get you to, like, see its entry in the menu. So... I don't know. I guess there's a little mystery there, but I'm not really too inclined to figure it out. I think we just accept it as it is. Holy fuck, man. I'm so sorry. I guess there's a pirate ship over there. I mean, we might as well plunder. I don't really think there's too much risk in it. And if we start drowning, I mean, we've got a more or less full health bar. We should be fine. Emeralds, that could be cool. Some templates. Iron's really good, actually. We've been hurting for iron, so... I guess we can try and, like... Once we get to the origin, maybe we'll set up there and, like, try and make a villager trading outpost. It's gonna take a little bit of effort, because I don't think we've seen a single village yet, and I'm not really expecting to, if I'm being honest with myself. But, you know. Buried treasure map. Nothing really of particular import here. Mending leather pants. Well, I guess that's something. Bamboo could be good too. I want to eventually make scaffolds. I feel like scaffolds are probably the single most useful block added in, like, any of the updates thus far. I guess maybe now that we have the auto crafter, there's, you know, there's another contender for that. But for the most part, like, in terms of utility blocks, scaffold's pretty up there, I think. Only about 15,000 blocks away. So the bucket, I think, is going to be primarily useful for us for making a nether portal. And I kind of want to do that because the nether, for those of you who don't know, is like a much smaller world. In the literal sense. One block in the overworld is like an eighth of a block in the nether. So if we're there and we, like, find nether portals that we didn't make, that could be good for us, because that implies that, you know, someone also built one and was either traveling or, like, you know, maybe we stumble upon a base. That would be cool. But, yeah. There's a little island over there. It looks like the ocean has returned proper, which is, I never thought I'd say it, but kind of nice to see. I mean, I know the whole goal of the server was to kind of like find land, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I wasn't really. I was expecting it to take days, and I was kind of hoping to have to like deal with the ocean. Hold up, let me kill this guy. And blap. It's so strange that they don't have like the ban in a right-click menu. Like, there's no context menu for it. You actually just have to click on their name and then hit the button. But anywho, looks like we're back at the savannah. I guess if we go left, we might see some more. We might see some more water, and I guess boat travel is like kind of faster for us, but I'm not too worried about it if I'm being honest. So let's instead just see if we can't find any more iron in these chests. More leather pants, a lot of rotten flesh. I'll take some salmon. Paper. Now that I'm thinking about it, actually, I guess taking bamboo isn't the smartest thing in the world, because I don't really have any intentions of like incorporating anywhere. I guess that kind of runs counter to the plan of getting a villager trading post going, though. So, I guess we kind of have to make that choice there. See, a villager trading post could be nice because, given that, like, you know, we found land and whatnot, like, the challenge, that part is sort of over. I kind of want to just kill the Ender Dragon, or, like, see if the Ender Dragon is still around, you know? And if it's not, I mean, cool, I guess. Maybe there's something in the end that we can, you know, look at, but I think that's, at the very least, killing the Ender Dragon is going to require a couple of beds and some serious persistence. But at the worst, it could end up being like, you know, we bring Diamond in there and we just try and, you know, brute force it. But I guess we'll sort all that out once we reach our destination. I guess if that's what we're going to do, we should probably, that's nasty. I guess if that's, like, kind of our plan, we should satisfy Pythagoras and start beelining, what, northwest, I think? Before we do that, let's actually get, real quick, let's get our food cooked and whatnot, because I don't really want to, I don't fancy the idea of having to, you know, constantly stop, starve a little bit, you know, find some animals around that we can go turn into breakfast, and then, alright, so we should probably also take this moment to sort our inventory situation out. Let's get rid of these. We don't really have any use for them. The spruce planks can go. The feather isn't going to be doing us much. The wheat, we can't really turn into bread without more wheat. I guess we can... No chicken. We don't need the cobbled deep slate. And then I guess we can handle the iron ore later. Well, no, I mean, we have the furnace up right now, I suppose, so there's no issue with that, really. We can make another bucket. Although I think that would ultimately just take, I think, a little more of our inventory space, and I don't really want to do that right now. And then we've got the unbreaking leather pants, which I don't really know if that's going to be better than mending leather pants. We kind of get XP, I think, at a slightly better rate than we're getting, well, So we can break the leather pants and then use the mending pants later, I guess. And then that would... I mean, that's not a huge difference, but it will free up the inventory space once the leather pants break. Decisions. I'm not really sure, like, at what point specifically when the sun goes down we can start sleeping. I also don't know... Is the world time in the F3 menu? Like, I don't see it. I could be wrong, but I think they really do want you to craft a clock for that, and I don't think we're going to be at that point at any point. Alright, so that's going to be a pretty good food reserve. I think. Although, I guess we could still cook the rest of what we've got. And then we'll pick up camp and get going. Don't need this crafting table out right now. Although, if I'm being real, we don't really need the crafting table at all. I like how items have buoyancy now. Didn't used to be the case, I don't think. One of the mods I was considering putting on for this mod pack, because I mean, right now I'm not running anything too crazy. It's just the shaders. It's mostly like vanilla. It's mostly vanilla. Whatchamacallit, fabulously optimized, and then we have a little sprinkling of, you know, the first person mod, a couple of extra animations, whatnot. But one of the mods that I was considering was a mod that adds, like, dropped block physics. You know, just so, like, instead of being little, like, floating cartoonish representations of themselves, whatever we drop, like, actually sits on the floor and looks like, you know, a little closer to how it would in reality, I suppose. Honestly, I might add that after stream. I kind of forgot about its existence while I was making the mod pack, so I guess that wouldn't be, I guess that wouldn't hurt. Damn, it's almost midday again. Okay, well, let's take the coal out just so we don't accidentally use more than we intend to, and then we'll cook this chicken up, and I think that will be that. I do want to get a carrot farm going at some point. Not for, you know, not for anything particularly, important. I just kind of like having maximum saturation when I can. Alright, and pick up our bed, and let's get going. So, this way... Anyone else hear that? Oh, it's a fox. Oh, come here, man. I fucking love these little guys. They're probably, outside of the bee, I think the fox is probably my favorite, like, neutral mob. Maybe the glow squid. I know the glow squid gets a lot of hate because, like, you know, the situation, TM. This, I don't think, is naturally occurring. I'm not really sure how that happened, but anyway, the glow squid gets a lot of hate, but I was really hopeful that it would be kind of like the push that Mojang needed to, what's the word I'm looking for? I was kind of hoping it would be the push they needed to implement dynamic lighting for real. Alas, it wasn't to be, and the glow squid just has a full bright texture and doesn't light up the area around it. But, you know, is what it is, I guess. It's really upsetting because I know it's like technically possible, and we have demonstrations of this in the form of shit like this shader pack and whatnot. And don't get me wrong, I know that Mojang is developing like their shitty little PBR shader pack and whatnot, but I mean, like, come on, man, we could have had this years ago. Really, they could just like make shaders an official part of the game and rework their fucking rendering pipeline, but you know, Java. I'm also kind of upset because like instead of making like, a mainline game and whatnot, or instead of just porting Java over to C++ and then killing Java, which I know, like, crazy, right? Like, why would anyone ever recommend that? But like, they could have made a faithful port to C++ or whatever, and like actually had a good game, and then not fractured the community with Bedrock Edition and whatnot. But instead now we have Java and Bedrock, and I don't know. I feel like Bedrock's getting a lot more attention, I feel like. And it has like a bunch of shit that's exclusive to it that's really cool that I wish was in Java, but we're not going to get. Like dyes and cauldrons, like that's cool. Like that's a good system. I wish they implemented that in Java, but I guess it's also kind of a double-edged sword because now we have the paid cosmetics in Bedrock Edition, which I know wasn't like what's the word I'm looking for? I know wasn't exclusive to the PC Bedrock Edition. Like that was always a long time coming. We had it like, I guess we had it in Xbox and PlayStation is where it originated. Like I get it. I know that was always kind of coming, but like it seems to me that they just keep doing that sort of shit. Like now they have the paid mods and whatnot, which is cool. I mean, I don't have anything against like programmers, modelers, etc., map makers making money off of their effort, but at the same time, like, Jesus Christ, man, lay off the gas a little bit. I kind of miss doing adventure maps and whatnot. Way back in the day, like I'd spend hours on Planet Minecraft looking for like different maps to do. I think one of the most memorable I've done was the Temple of Notch, which is really funny to say because like it wasn't an adventure map like proper. It was just kind of like a redstone demonstration, but it was still really cool. Like it to this day, it still blows my mind that someone would be able to sit down for like multiple hours in Minecraft and just like, for the love of the game, sculpt out a guy's head in a fucking mountain. Oh, I thought I saw smoke over there. I was kind of excited if that was a campfire, like. Oh, you know what? I guess we could craft a campfire, and that would make food cooking a little faster, I guess. We could do 4 at once. In the words of a wise man, the Minecraft campfire is a single instruction, multiple data operation. Lots of Endermen out, which is kind of curious, but, is what it is. Let's eat this chicken, might as well. I think next we're going to start digging into the steak. I'm trying to keep as much of my inventory open as possible, especially because we don't have, that was kind of a stupid way to take fall damage. We don't have the benefit of, like, the little item sacks and whatnot. Not that they're, like, incredibly good. I think that Mojang definitely could have benefited from just expanding the base inventory space or adding like backpacks or whatnot. I feel like they took the worst possible route to, managing the fact that the inventory as it is just no longer enough to keep up with, like, you know, what you must do to survive in Minecraft. Like, you want me to have a full set of tools, some blocks, you want me to have, like, shit to craft with, the elytra, the fireworks, like, that's... I mean, for funsies, we could throw a compass and a clock in there. You know. Oh, well. Seems we're not alone. I guess someone else had the same idea, because, like, we're kind of off the beaten path at this point. I know that's a little hard to believe, considering, but, like, from spawn, it's not as though we were traveling in a straight line at this point. Like, we've been, I think, veering off to the left a little bit. So the fact that someone else was out here, especially in, like, such a low player density environment, getting really fancy with it, it's kind of cool to see. Can only sleep at night or during thunderstorms. I don't know about you, but I think we're close enough tonight that I should be able to sleep. 10,000 blocks away from the origin. Or, I guess 11. We're not making great time, but we are making time. How about now? Can we sleep now? Yeah. Alright. I gotta tell you, man, having the bed is a fucking godsend. I don't know what I would do if I had to, like, lock myself in for 15 minutes every 20 and just kind of wait for the mobs to go away. I mean, it's not as though it's like a necessary component of all this shit. I guess I could just, like, set the respawn point and, you know, have fun doing a little fighting and then dying and then repeating. But I don't know. It's a lot nicer just to be able to skip it, you know? At least until we have, like, proper armor and whatnot and can actually hold our own ground, as opposed to, you know, rocking out in my fucking Unbreaking 3 leather pants. I should probably take the shield off. It's kind of getting in the way of my my viewing experience. What the hell is that? I don't think I've ever seen that before. I'm pretty sure that's a naturally generating thing. Curious. Let's get that going, and then... Oh, shit. One of them's got a trident. That's funny. Luck of the Sea, too. That's funny. It kind of looks like it's been looted, but I don't know who would, like, leave a Luck of the Sea rod around. I guess I can, later on, I can AFK farm with it. I don't think it's of particular use to us right now, though. I guess that would be that'd be a really easy way to get, you know, Ender game gear. I guess now that we have netherite around, you know, it's not entirely necessary for us to... Or, now that netherite's around, endgame gear doesn't necessarily constitute diamond. I will say this, I wish they did I wish they tried a little bit more in the direction of, like, better at X but worse at Y gear. Which, I mean, I guess that's kind of an ambiguous statement to make, but, like, what I mean is, the gold pickaxe is faster than the diamond pickaxe. but it comes at the penalty of having like no durability. And I wish that was kind of something that they played with a lot more. And it really does only seem to be like the digging tools that they did that for gold. Like, I don't, as far as I remember, gold is not much better than wood at like dealing damage or whatever. In fact, a gold sword I think is functionally identical to a wooden one. I'm not really sure what they were thinking with that, but you know, it just goes to show there's like some more opportunity for them to play around with stuff. I just don't know if they've got the bravery to do it. It is kind of, I guess, difficult to like mess with the progression structure of Minecraft nowadays. Because I to be perfectly honest, I was surprised when they introduced I was kind of surprised when they introduced Netherite. Like that was a bold move to me, because like Diamond has been so like codified as part of the game's identity that like it's practically a part of the branding. Like it's ubiquitous. So the fact that they were able to convince anybody to be like, hey, so we're gonna add another tier of progression, and it's gonna be awesome. Like it's kind of interesting to me. So edit. So we'll make a waypoint here because this is going to be a good place to come back to. We can set up our little camp, I guess. And saddle could be good. Apples are nice. We can set up our little camp here later and set up like a proper trading post, level up the smith, and, you know, get some decent gear going forward. Although I guess that's more of a long-term goal. I don't really fancy having to do that right about now. We still have about 9,000 blocks to go to our destination. It was kind of cool, like, thinking back on it, to spawn like 80 bajillion feet up in the air and like fall into the ocean. I think that's kind of appropriately thematic. Or at least it would have been way back when the ocean wasn't way back when the ocean was actually, you know, vast. I guess it's not really possible to recreate the old swim maps, just like by virtue of the fact that world generation code has changed so much now. And like after the ocean update, I'd imagine there is like some sort of probabilistic limit on how much of an ocean you can have. Something I want to do eventually is make a server that's entirely just mine shafts and have mobs always spawn. I had a world like that way back when super flat customization wasn't neutered, and it was actually really fun. Like, it offered a very unique sort of survival experience in that, like, you weren't, like, playing Minecraft at that point. It was kind of like a roguelike. And there wasn't, you know, there wasn't really any pressure to get to the end or whatever. There wasn't really any, like, anything like that. You just kind of went. I wonder if we can... I wonder how far we can take that body of water out. Because really, at this point, I think we want to go more west than north. Yeah, because we've been kind of beelining it north a little bit, and I guess I've kind of been neglecting the other coordinate. I'm really, really hoping that there's something out here. I mean, if ever there was a place I would expect people to congregate, it would be in the center of the world. Although I guess spawn kind of counts too. My running theory for how they found where to put the spawn location is that they just use /locate and then set the world spawn to be like 1,000,000 blocks above that. I wonder how good the vanilla anti-cheat is. I know it kind of exists because way back when I was being a naughty little boy and cheating my ass off, Minecraft like would kick you if you were flying and flying wasn't enabled on the server. Which is the history behind that's kind of cool. So back in the day, when Minecraft was first like in its alpha betas or whatever, there was a mod called Minecraft Zombie Survival or some shit like that, and it was basically like, you know, kind of a Left 4 Dead-ish, like, you know, zombies survival conversion mod. And one of the features that it added was enabling flying. And you can like use this mod in other servers. It would kind of like smartly turn it off. But you could still like go into the menu and turn on flying. And this was kind of a problem for multiplayer at the time because the game didn't have an anti-cheat and would just kind of let you do this. It didn't have sanity checking on movement or whatever. So they added the server option to make it so that the default vanilla server would at least kick you if it thought you were getting a little too much airtime. Bane of my existence, I swear. It's kind of funny because to date there are only like a couple of cheat clients that I know about that that actually like meaningfully bypass that. So I mean, even for just kind of a stopgap measure, it's really effective. All right, once we get to shore, we'll slap down our bed because I don't really want to have to deal with the arduous task of surviving through the night. Although it's looking kind of like we might not even have to hit shore. We might just be able to get on with our day/night. Oh. Ooh, shit. He's got a sword. Why? What? Oh. I'm hearing a lot of bad noises, folks. Jesus. Alright, I guess we might as well get some more meat while we have the chance. Alright. That could have been, I mean, not bad. We got our spawn point set, but that still could have been at least annoying. I'll put it that way. I didn't realize it would let me sleep until something hit me out of my bed. I thought it was actually going to forcibly wake me up, which I would have been fine with, I guess. I wouldn't really have an issue I wouldn't really have an issue if we just had to keep moving. Truthfully, though, I don't want to deal with drowned. They're kind of like, they were my fear going into this. Like, way back when I first started playing the server, drowned weren't an issue because they weren't in the game yet. Like, zombies didn't really spawn in the ocean. They didn't have, you know, extra mobility there or whatever. But now they do. Now they do, and I honestly thought it was going to be a huge fucking problem, but I think we can... I'm still not entirely sure why boats go so fast on ice. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's cool. It's really cool, and I'm kind of thankful for it, but... like, it feels like a bug, you know? I guess we can just keep going that way. We weren't going as west as I thought we should. I guess I could have tried to take a villager with me by, like, shoving it into a boat, and then, like, you know, doing that sort of thing. But that's for nerds. Besides, I think we can, I think we might have luck if we just try and convert some zombie villagers over at the origin. You know, if we can get one to spawn, that is. I don't know. I'll have to make a zombie farm, I guess. It's interesting to me that you can convert zombie villagers back into regular villagers, but there's nothing you can do for, like, regular zombies. You just kill them. It would have been kind of cool to see a unique sort of mob that doesn't spawn naturally unless you convert a regular zombie back. Although I guess they did kind of have, like, some form of plan for that at one point. Like, they had the old NPCs that were, you know, the frog girl and the, like, chibi-looking Steve and whatnot. Maybe that's what they were going for. Origin Savannah. I've got to say, it's not my favorite biome, but the wood is kind of pretty. I like the gray-red combination. I think I'm still very partial to the plains biome, though. Just because it's kind of like... I don't know. It's default, it's like, you know, not very interesting to look at, but I still love it. It's flat, it's nice to build on. It's where you get, like, the normal villager generation now instead of, you know, the villages that we have nowadays that look different depending on what biome they're in. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's a really nice touch. It's just a departure from what I'm used to, I guess. It's comfy. I guess forest is kind of cool too. I really like how forests look with the bushy tree or bushy leaves resource pack. I'm honestly incredibly impressed with like all the work people put into this game, even so many years later, to, like, you know, make it look so good. Interesting that kelp would be spawning in, like, a riverbed. I feel like the kelp spawning is maybe a little too aggressive. A couple of days ago, I mean, I think I mentioned on stream already, but a couple of days ago, I was part of a medical study, and I'm still thinking about it because during the first day of the 2 days that I had to go into the city and like get my eyes imaged and whatnot, I had an incident where my blood sugar dropped like way low, like low enough that I thought I was going to pass out. And this isn't the first time this has happened. It's happened maybe like twice in my life other than that. But it's always been in like the strangest circumstances. The first time I was just like sitting down at my desk watching like YouTube videos, I guess, and all of a sudden like I started feeling like I was going to die. And at the time I didn't really know like I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know like how to fix it. So, you know, it was a very scary thing to happen. So I went downstairs and I told my dad, and he sat me down, got me some orange juice. And I don't know for sure. I still don't know for sure. Well, I guess there's enough experimental evidence to say, but like I didn't know what was going on, but I got orange juice, and I guess my assumption is my blood sugar was just like very low. So the other time was like on a plane, and I knew what was happening, but like, you're on a plane, like what the fuck are you gonna do? I was trying to get the flight attendant over, but like I couldn't find a button. And oh dear, it was just this whole thing. Luckily, there was a very nice woman behind me who brought some soda onto the flight. And damn, if soda doesn't fix you right the fuck up from that kind of situation, let me tell you, like goddamn. But that happened. That happened while I was getting my eyes imaged, and it wasn't like a huge thing. I kind of knew from the moment I started feeling it come on that like that's what was going down. And luckily the lab assistant happened to just like have Jolly Ranchers on her person. Like it's so fucking whimsical. I love that sort of person. But yeah, so we got it fixed up, but I didn't know like what exactly I had done, because I had like a decent breakfast that morning. I had OJ, I had, my morning apple, I had, a little peanut butter sandwich. I was ready to go for the day, dog. I was locked in. So it was kind of strange. But I brought the next day. I kind of like vowed to myself that I would bring like some sort of sugary drink just in case like shit was starting to get real, And so I went into the garage and I was like, I found our little pallet of Coca-Colas that are now probably like 2.5 year old, because my family, like, as sort of like a policy, tries to stay away from soda. Like, it is genuinely, I think, one of the worst things that you could put in your body for any reason. Like, it's just, oof, it is a chemical slurry, my friends. I would recommend anyone stay away from it if they can. But my father has been on like a sort of caffeine kick recently, and I guess he had them in the garage for funsies. And my grandfather is a big Coca-Cola guy. He actually collects like Coca-Cola memorabilia. I always found it funny when I'd go over to his house and I'd see like the Coca-Cola clock, the Coca-Cola paperweight, like all that stuff. It's really funny. But it was the weirdest thing. I picked up a Coca-Cola bottle, and I was like, it was light. It was fully sealed and everything, but it was light, and I was shaking it, and there was like half the air still in there, and it didn't look like it was leaking. So I mean, I was a little suspicious, because like I had heard of a court case way back when, where a guy sued the Pepsi company because he allegedly, well, I guess not allegedly, it was at least in civil court, it was proven, I believe. He allegedly found like a dissolved rat in his Mountain Dew can. So they ended up doing experiments to prove that yes, you could in fact dissolve a dead rat in Mountain Dew. So I was a little suspicious of like the difference in weight. I was thinking that maybe there was something that was not so dense in there that maybe I would have a bad time if I were to open that can up. So I put that can back and I got another one. Luckily, I didn't end up having any such incident the following day. I actually had a lot of fun. I think I mentioned briefly. I mentioned briefly in the Baba's U stream, but it was really cool. I met the lab techs were like just awesome people. They were they let me like kind of see the inner workings of the imaging equipment they were using, which is really cool because what they were doing, their technique. I wonder if that's lava. Yeah, that's lava. Their technique was the kind of the same process that they use to image stars from terrestrial telescopes and like do error correction using mirrors. So what they do is they calculate what the what would be the correct terminology for it. They calculate like what the distortion should look like and whatnot, and then they, using that information, correct for distortion in the actual perceived image. And they do this using a series of like very, very, very small mirrors. And as it turns out, this the same process is good for imaging, like, you know, cells and like bundles of neurons and fibers and whatnot in the eye. So I mean, it was all like really, really cool stuff. They happen to be doing, at least their software involved in some part like image tracking and whatnot, which is really cool because I'm kind of working on a similar project right now, or at least the very beginnings of it. I want to try and get like a rigged up model that I can use in like sort of a VTuber setup. But I want to do it with a stereoscopic camera, or I guess not stereoscopic. The most correct term, I guess, is a time of flight camera that can measure like the depth of what it's seeing, or, you know, how far away what it's seeing is, which should theoretically give, you know, better frame rate is not the word, smoother, less jittery tracking. Because like that, one of the things that pisses me off, like I don't watch VTubers really ever, but one of the things that pisses me off about them is that like when you look at their models and you look at their eyes like darting around and whatnot, you can see the smoothing algorithm that they're using to try and like eliminate the noise in it. And it just kind of sucks because that's not how a human eye works, right? Like, when you start looking around at things, you have really two primary modes of fixating your eye on something. You're either tracking it, and it's really hard to like, I don't want to say impossible, but like, unless you're training to do it, it is probably incredibly hard to like fake tracking an object with your eyes. Like, the other way that you can look at something is just to have your eyes like flicking around and whatnot, and that's more or less an instantaneous process. So, you know, the fact that, all right, nothing particularly cool out there. The fact that you know, we don't really see an accurate emulation of that in like VTuber models kind of pisses me off. So I'm trying to get something a little closer to quote upon quote natural, if that makes sense. Just like I suppose that I'm a little more fixated on this sort of thing than most, and I don't know, maybe for the better, maybe for the worse, but I figure if you're gonna do something, you should probably do it right. We're only a couple hundred blocks out from the origin now. And I hate to say it, but it doesn't look like anyone's bothered to come here. Well, I suppose that's not necessarily true. We can see some nice floating cobblestone. Ah, that's what I'm talking about, baby. I mean, rather crude, I suppose. Not exactly the sort of build that I was excited to see, but you know, if ever I was worried about this server having a pulse or some such, I guess we can put those to bed. Alright. Well, I mean, this is cool enough, I suppose. Here's what I think we do. Let's go ahead, get to the top. And you know what? Let's actually better than that. Let's set our spawn. Let's get some torches going. And a lit nether portal, an ender chest, and some signs. Man, I can't tell you how glad I am to see some shit like that. Like, genuinely. This is really exciting for me. Not, I guess not the most exciting in terms of build complexity and whatnot, but we've got our respawn point set, so maybe let's see what's going on in the nether. Maybe there's some stuff going on there. Mystic Fire 28 was here, 2025, May 25. Bendy was here in 03, 27, 24. Since 2015, Lord Fry, January 3rd, 2024. Crash 12, dude. Yayo! April 2nd, 2023, and June of 2023. Alright, man. I guess let's stash our stuff and get in there, see what we can see. I'm not expecting to see too much. I think what we're going to do for funsies is we'll set ourselves up. We'll set ourselves up in the damn, lots of netherrack around here. We'll set ourselves up in one of the walls of the I guess they didn't penetrate bedrock. I think we can still make a bedrock breaker in this version, so we'll do that later maybe. But we'll set ourselves up in one of the walls of the whatchamacallit. This is the south road. So I guess this is to world spawn. We'll set ourselves up in the walls of one of the lava casts. We'll make that a home for now, I guess. And maybe we can get a villager trading post going. I don't expect... Why is my fishing rod in my inventory? I could have sworn that I threw this into the end chest. If we die with this fishing rod, I might fucking scream. Yeah, let's throw you in there, and I guess we'll take some bread for the road, too. But, once we get ourselves set up in there, I think we start making our trading post, and then I guess we just go for the end, really. There's nothing more I can think to do. I mean, we can explore these highways. That would be kind of cool. Although, I guess if I'm going to do that, what I want is a pig and a carrot on a stick. We could also start hacking. That's a distinct possibility. I don't know necessarily that it would benefit us in any way, other than, like, maybe giving us access to speed hacks. I think that we might. I think that's what we might do though, because like at this point, like the challenge is sort of gone. Although there's another portal here, so let's see. Wonder if anyone has a base set up or. I get the distinct feeling that whoever needed this at some point no longer does. This is a funny little house. Looks like there was a looks like there was a bit of a whatchamacallit in the distance, a water temple. You know, it's sort of funny now that I'm thinking about it. It seems to me that there's a sort of sliding scale of anarchy servers where on some of them, like let's say 2B2T, it's so populous that pretty much anyone who comes across, oh dear, pretty much anyone who comes across whatever you're building is, I feel almost like guaranteed to destroy it. Like, just probabilistically, that's kind of like the culture of the place. And so you don't, I guess, want people to come across your builds. But in a server like this, I guess, that's really lonely and, you know, the chance of you seeing anyone is relatively low. I guess there's kind of an incentive to, like, leave your portals and builds and whatnot on the main roads. I mean, I guess I'm not really facilitating that sort of atmosphere, given my, you know, recent acquisition of one very expensive axe. But, you know, it's nice to have nice things. I think I think sums up my argument there. So yeah, I guess we just spend the next like 50 minutes running down this corridor, seeing what we can see, and I mean, I don't really fancy the prospect of turning on like a cheat menu or whatever. Like, you know, in the middle of a stream, I feel like that would be a little boring. Although I will say this, I am a little worried about getting footage while cheating. Specifically because it doesn't really seem like there are any meaningful entities around here. Nor does it really seem like there's anything of particular interest around here. Although I guess there is a feather up by the shore, so let's go see that. What was I going to say? Right, so I'm a little worried about recording while it's cheating because I'm using my kind of plan for this was to be using replay mod, and there's nothing. Replay mod like works by capturing the packets that we send to the server and kind of just replaying them, right? Which is, I mean, cool, fine, whatever, but I don't know how a cheat menu is going to interact with that because by definition, cheating is like altering the packets that we're sending to server in most cases. And I think that might screw things up, so we might actually have to record like video proper. Are they gonna kill me? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They want my ass dead. Luckily, it seems that my my axe is enough to carry me through. And we have enough food to, I guess, heal off any damage that, or at least any damage that isn't too meaningful. I can't believe that no one's decided to get on the nether roof, though. I guess I can confirm that if I were to free cam in the replay. I can kind of like see what's going on there. 10K True Zero North. Interesting that they would mark it with portals every once in a while. Anything particularly fun over here? You know, it occurs. We probably could make a sign and scream into the void ourselves. I feel like that would be cool. But we'll get that done later, I guess. The client that I'm going to be using, I think, is called Meteor Client. It's fairly commonly used, ironically, specifically for servers like these. It comes with a built-in thing called Baritone, which is kind of like a Minecraft playing AI that you can use to like get from point A to point B, and it's fairly highly reliable, I think. So, all right, I guess the tunnel this way wasn't all too complete. Not that I can pass particular blame. I mean, hell, I wouldn't want to. I guess, again, without something like Baritone. So, I'm kind of interested in that 10K portal, though. This seems really cool to me because, I don't know, maybe someone used that to get a build going. I guess we'll investigate a little more once we have access to cheats and whatnot. We'll free cam, do X-ray, all that good stuff. But until then, let's I guess just keep on going. It kind of reminds me of like doing this specifically. Kind of reminds me of like a bad dream, you know? Like just walking down a hallway forever. You're not really sure whether or not it's gonna, you know, terminate or where you are, where you're going. There's a short story written about something like very eerily close to this, where some humans are put underground on a planet that it's like it's more or less just a flat ball, like a marble, and there are two hallways going just either direction, and this kid gets like cast out from what they assume to be like the only real civilization there, and he starts walking down the long ass hallway, and that, like, the story is just him going through the hallway, like, you know, lack of food starting to kick in, X and Y and Z and whatnot. I wasn't really too fond of the ending. He ends up getting onto the surface after, like, breaking his legs and all this stupid bullshit. And, it's just him contacting aliens and shit, I guess. But, hold up, we're gonna have to get a little rough with these guys, I think. Let's eat up before that becomes a problem, though. Oh, wait. I guess they were neutral until I forgot. I guess it's only the ones that aren't zombified that, want to kill us without us wearing gold on. My bad. Made this a little harder than I had to. I guess we've got some... Damn. I guess we've got some rotten flesh for the road, though, so... Wasn't all a bust. Now that I'm thinking about it, there was that nether portal at spawn. We probably could have gotten here a lot faster if I just wasn't stupid. But... You know. I'm not too upset about it either way. What I'm interested to see, so this one terminates at around 10k blocks, which is, you know, not great, not terrible. Oh. Oh. I guess we don't have a way up over the bedrock. At least no one built a bedrock breaker yet. We could be the first. I don't know, maybe they were Ender Pearl glitching. So this is east. Let's see if there's anything interesting this way. Honestly, I'm kind of like just chill with sitting at the lava casts. Not using too much food for these little marathons, which is, I guess, kind of nice. Interesting that people have stayed on this map long enough to get diamond and whatnot. I gotta say, I am really glad to see that the signs are... They're at least, you know, 2-year-old signs around. Which I guess is kind of, you know, not the most thrilling to say, but... when I went into that website that's connected to the server, I think I've already spoken about. When I went into that website, the map name is Swim4. So this server in, I want to say, what? It's 2025. In 14 years, the server has only had 4 resets, and I assumed that Swim4 was like a very recent reset, but oh, they don't give a shit. I forgot. Swim 4 seems to be at least 2 years old, given the oldest sign we found. It's a little sad that it's had resets at all. I would have been really happy to see, like, you know, the map that I was on when I first arrived, but you know, I have to wonder if this is how, like, most Anarchy servers are, you know? Like, you go into the Minecraft server list, you find an Anarchy server, and then, like, it's got an almost nil player base for most of the time, but you go on, you know, you build your house or whatnot, you leave a little trace of your existence, and then you log off, and, you know, someone else comes around and finds it. I think there's a little poetry to that. Again, it's still utterly fascinating that, it's still utterly fascinating to me that, like, we found anything interesting. So, I guess these are some paths that we'll follow later on. I kind of want to stick to the main highways for now, but we'll mark this. We'll come back to it once we have a serviceable hacked client. I almost guarantee you that there's a portal that a ways. I guess there's really no point in marking if we're going to see them so regularly. I guess X-Ray is going to be our friend, huh? That's cool. I'm down with it. So this will get us over to the main portal. And then this seems to terminate here. Interesting. So let's see where this 10k portal leads. Maybe someone's just really in love with the letter E. Nick343 was here, June 2013, 10k. Alright. We'll look around a little more. I guess at some other point. But Where's that sign? What's today's date? 6/27/2025. I guess we've got one more sign we can mark the origin up to. Assuming that is, we don't see any, anything further down this path. I kind of expect it to terminate not too soon, or too soon? But sooner rather than later, I expect it to terminate. Just considering the other one wasn't, didn't seem too keen to go much farther out than we'd seen. I guess we'll mark this one because it's far enough away. Well, nah. Well, I mean, we'll come back down these again and give them a more thorough exploration. And I guess we'll see what we see when we see it. I'm kind of really glad to not see any traps thus far. I gotta wonder what these people are tunneling to. I mean, again, my theory is probably that we're going to find some portals at the end of those, which could be really cool. I mean, it'd be nice to see more than some lava casts, a shitty cobblestone house, and, you know, whatever else. I'm wondering now, though, because this is an old Minecraft version, there might be an exploit that we can use to get operator permissions. I guess that might be a little malicious. And I'm not convinced that we're going to do it if indeed the opportunity presents itself. But I guess it's something to consider, you know, because like having creative mode and being able to kind of move without impedance, I think would be beneficial to our quest. And then we can kill the Ender Dragon without worry. East Pathway goes on for quite a while. Which is, I should note, I think that's, like, that's an encouraging sign, if you ask me. Just because it means that people were, like, interested in getting out this far. Which means that there was probably something out this far. Bones and arrows. I didn't know that skeletons could spawn in the Nether. I thought they were kind of reserved for, I thought they were reserved for the overworld. Actually, you know what? Let's keep the HUD on. Although I'm not too big a fan of this blocky ass fucking crosshair. It could be good to keep the HUD on just because that way we can see on the mini map whether or not there's any pathways or anything. 20k? Maybe we have a, nah. Well. The setup isn't as welcoming through this one, it seems. Not that that's necessarily a problem, mind you. I'm just, you know, it would have been cooler to see a platform or whatnot. Alright, so this one terminates at 20k. Just about. So let's go make our way back. I think we're gonna save the offshoots for we'll save the offshoots for the next secret stream. We'll go around in the client and, you know, see what there is to see, I suppose. And then I guess we'll go west and then finally south. I expect south to be the longest tunnel just because it's the closest to spawn. I imagine that I imagine that people have spent a little more time going in both directions around there. And then, I guess before the stream ends, once we get off to the, once we get into the central kind of place, I'll go put a sign down at the origin and, you know, leave our mark. That way, at least we can prove we got here on the day we did. Or, I guess it isn't proof. I could write down whatever the fuck I want, I suppose. I will put in chat, I think, just in case the server operator is reading. Reading through the logs, that is. I'll put something in chat and, you know, see if I can't talk to him. I've seen a lot of his videos. There's, well, I mean, I'm gonna be completely honest. I've practically been cyber stalking the guy ever since I just started, or decided to do a video, I guess, collection on this series. I found a lot. He was apparently very active on Twitter, although I think all of his posts are private now. I found some weird sort of like crypto integrated social media that he's been pretty active on. It seems like he's been on it for almost as long as the server's been running, unless I'm, you know, mistaken and there's something there. Or he like migrated his posts or whatnot. I've seen a couple of his videos. As it turns out, the dude's got a family and whatnot, which is, I mean, I guess expected if you were old enough to be running a Minecraft server on a VPS in, you know, what, 2011, I guess, then that would kind of put you up there in years. But like, you know, he was older than I would have put the minimum age at for this, or expected age, I suppose. I mean, I guess what I'm doing is kind of creepy there. I don't really plan to include much of that detail in the video itself, but I mean, me personally, like, this is kind of my fixation right now. I'm I'm all in on this one. I really, like, since I remembered that, like, this thing exists and I realized that I could play it on, like, a proper Minecraft version as opposed to a snapshot, like, it's kind of been the only thing on my mind, I won't lie. I'll call him the maintainer, the operator of this server, Inertia, is, at least as of 3 months ago, still active and responding to comments on his YouTube channel. He seems to be still aware of this Minecraft server, which is funny to me because, like, I'd think that at this point, like, you know, I'd stop paying for the VPS and whatnot, the hosting services and all, but he still seems to be aware of it as of 3 months ago. It's still, he seems to have plans to continue maintaining it, although I'm not entirely sure. It seems that at one point there was, the server was down for a tad, and it wasn't certain whether it was going to come back up. So I don't know if that's what that comment was referring to, or if whatever, but he said that there would be hardware upgrades and that he had to do some work on the software side to get everything, you know, back in working order. So I don't know what the deal with that was just yet. I guess I'm going to do a little more digging into that, and if I can get a hold of this guy, you know, I'd love to have him in at least some part of the video I'm planning on making, you know, talking about the history of everything that went down. Because, I mean, again, I've only played the server in the past for, like, 2 hours. I mean, despite that, I still, like, had some recognition of the names that I saw in the PvP history and whatnot, but, I mean, I think the people who were doing that were like regulars, so it's kind of, I guess it was kind of unlikely at any point that I wouldn't have seen them. Anyway, yeah, let's get our sign down. And then I guess we'll go west, and we'll save south for next stream, because I kind of very strictly have to be off in like 25 minutes. So I guess the 2025 signs go over here. Uh, 6, 27, 2025. It kind of upsets me that we don't have a universally standardized date encoding. I guess there is ISO, but you know, I don't know anyone that uses ISO in real life outside of a professional context. I always found the American way of doing it to be a little weird. Although I guess that is as close as it gets to being spoken, but I think that day, month, year is a little more sensible. I guess I'll start writing ISO timestamps on my signs. I've been looking through like other ways on how to reduce my spoken sibilance. Just because, oh, the netherrack hasn't despawned. That's kind of interesting. It implies that we are the first person, well, I am the first person to load these chunks since the tunnel was mined. Although, I guess this way doesn't have netherrack, so maybe someone took a one-way trip. That would be kind of cool, actually. More netherrack. Strange. Well, our inventory is going to be shot up, but, you know, I guess I can't be too upset about it. No sign of life, though. I wonder if the Meteor client has a thing to detect loaded chunks. That would be good for us. That way we can kind of see where people have been. What the hell? Oh. I thought it was bugged. Ooh! I didn't expect you to explode into like 4 creatures. I don't know why I didn't. I mean, it's kind of what you do, I guess, but a small lapse in judgment. A short one, too. So it looks like the biome to our left is the blue mushroom forest, which is kind of cool. I really like the colored wood. I like the logs you get from there, so I might at some point take a detour, and I guess maybe we'll use those as building materials for our home. We can, you know, establish a little base of operations. I guess we'll necessarily have to if we're going to put that near. Interesting. Okay, so no 10K portal out west, and whoever was here last, I guess, gave up. Made a rather claustrophobic tunnel. There's a skeleton over there. We can, I guess, deal with it with our shield, but... I'll have to look up how to make the Just Swim banner, and then I guess I'll make a banner and put it on my shield. It'd be cool if we could find mending somewhere, but I bet you the end is cannibalized to high hell. So I wouldn't be too surprised if we're not able to, you know, get a god set of gear going. God set of gear going. What an alliteration. It's kind of interesting, like, that sentence specifically, I think, like, the of is almost discounted. I wonder if there's, like, some deep subconscious, sort of mechanic that makes title case, like, intrinsic to our way of, interpreting language. Or maybe I'm just a little silly boy. I'll readily admit that possibility as well. So we're almost at 20k out on the overworld. Still no... Still no portal, it looks like. I'd be interested to see if we find one. I also wasn't the smartest, I suppose, in that I didn't bring much more food when we had the chance. I meant to, I just kind of forgot about it. But that's okay. I actually don't expect that we'll be making it back from this trip. Or at least not in this session, or, you know, without cheats. My plan is to just kind of speed hack, and we'll see where we can get with that. I should have prepared some more steak. Anyway, I was talking about sibilance. So, as it turns out, there's a plugin called a de-esser that supposedly makes it so that pronounced S's are a little less harsh. I know that, you know, this wasn't a big concern for anybody but me, but I really do try and go for the highest production quality I can manage, believe it or not. We'll eventually get our stream overlay looking a little prettier and whatnot. It's just that, you know, trying to do everything by hand by myself probably wasn't the smartest way to go about it. Although I am kind of adamantly against, you know, trying to hire help for this stuff, because like I have the skill set and whatnot. It's not as though I need the help to necessarily get through it. It's just that I, you know, don't have as many hours in the day as I'd like. Especially since I actually, like, you know, I want to, in addition to programming my own stream overlay and whatnot, I also have got videos I want to make and whatnot, you know, clips to make, all that good stuff. It's a very interesting problem to have, and it's not one that I think I've ever earnestly struggled with. Except for every once in a while in school, maybe I'd have like 3 projects due on one day. That can be a pain sometimes, but otherwise, you know, I've always had a fairly clear schedule, but now, I mean, I've got this to work towards, and it is, don't get me wrong, a really nice goal. It's been a blast, like, in every part of the way, so there's that, but I just need to, I'm just not satisfied with how much better I'm getting at our current pace, you know? Like, realistically, I would have liked to have had the overlay app and whatnot done like a couple of weeks ago. I would have liked to have been on like day 4 of this by now. I just had you know, life get in the way. And, you know, beyond that, like, I've got, you know, people that want to go out and do things. You know, I've got a family that, you know, I live with and want to spend time with while everyone's like still here and whatnot. Wow, I guess that's a very fatal way of putting things. I mean, just like, you know, in general, while everyone's still locally proximal to me, because, you know, I've got my last year of university coming up, which is cool. I'm like fine with that. It's just that, and I'm at university with my sister, so it's nice to be able to see her and whatnot. But, you know, my father and my mother, like, I like being around them and whatnot, so gotta make the most of the time while I've got it. I still don't know what my plan for university is. Depending on my housing, we might be able to continue stream into the school year, and I guess also depending on my workload. I don't expect it to be too terrible, but, you know, at least it's going to be better than last year's. Finally out of food. And yet, the tunnel still goes. I guess he would have been able to get, what, 1, 2, 3, 3.5 times the depth if he just... or she, maybe. Whoever bored this tunnel would have been able to get much more depth out of it, given that they only have to mine like 2 blocks in order to advance. And I suppose if they wanted to use the trapdoor mobility, they would have been able to just get by with whatchamacallit, 1 block, go much farther. We might not make it to the end of this tunnel by the end of the stream. That's exciting, although it's also a bit daunting. I shouldn't have thrown that rotten flesh away. Not that I'm like big on eating rotten flesh, especially without milk, but it would have at least given us, you know, a little more room to breathe in terms of pressing on. I wonder why it is that these blocks in specific are like bugging, you know? I'm gonna have to, I guess I'll check for updates to the shader pack and the PBR and whatnot. It's probably still that way on my current, whatchamacallit, on my like current normal prism profile. Damn, we really just do keep going, huh? This is at almost 40,000 blocks out on the overworld. And yet, none the wiser. Yeah, so we'll keep going for another like 10 or so minutes, and then we'll call it there. And I guess we're streaming Crosscode tonight, so that ought to be fun. I do want to get back into Sulfur. Goddamn, hold on. I'm sorry. There's I'm getting notifications. Okay. Sorry about that. I do want to go back and do Sulfur at some point, because a new update just came out, and I believe it brings with it a new area. So there should be some more for us to explore. I really, really like sulfur. They also added some new scrolls and whatnot, so I'd be excited to see what they do. I'm hoping that water has some more use other than, you know, making things wet nowadays. I don't think that there's a single, water scroll that you can craft that actually has any use, so it'd be cool if they gave it, you know, something to actually do. And I'd also like it if they made a dark scroll or dark scroll crafting recipe that didn't suck ass. I mean, I suppose you can make the I suppose you can make an argument for the scroll of sacrifice if you were kind of like building for a one-shot gun for like boss clear and whatnot, but I'm excited to see the new boss. It's supposed to be rather hard. At least that's what the patch notes would have me believe. The only thing beside the notification for the inclusion of the new boss was good luck, which I mean, I guess is a fairly like developer thing to put in the patch notes, but you know, I think the only other time I've seen a developer do something like that was for the prime bosses in Ultra Kill, and like those are practically designed with the explicit purpose of kicking your ass. So I don't know. We'll see when we get there. I've also I keep going back to this, but it's because I'm thinking about it kind of like, you know, passively as I continue to talk. I also relocated my microphone a bit. It used to be like right up on my mouth. And I think that was also causing a little bit of problem for the audio. But I have a pop filter on it now, which I hope helps with, you know, some of the sharper, more harsh audio. But I also have it now located just a little bit above my nose, which I didn't know that there was like a canonical microphone position, but if any of you out there ever get like a microphone and like put it on an arm and whatnot, it seems that the best place to have a microphone is off to like your 45 degree, either left or right, and 6 inches away and slightly above your nose. This is supposedly optimal for audio quality. And I mean, I guess I can see it, because that way you're not, you know, you're not breathing directly into the mic. You can't like, people can't hear you taking like, you know, small exhales and inhales and whatnot. But in terms of sibilance reduction, I'm not really sure if it's going to be doing all too much. So what I'm going to be doing in addition is I'll get a plugin called a de-esser, and we'll see if that helps any. And in addition to that, I have a little gap in my two front teeth. It's almost unnoticeable, but I'm trying to adjust the way I talk a little bit, just so it doesn't, you know, come out with that fucking whistling noise. But I'm also looking into, you know, getting wax or whatnot whilst I'm on stream to try and plug the gap, just so you know, it can't be heard. It's funny, I had Invisalign as a kid that was supposed to correct the gap in my teeth. evidently didn't, but, well, it may be better now than it was way back when. The original procedure for fixing stuff like this, as I understand it, is that they actually, like, the cause for a gap in your front teeth is a tissue that grows a little too long, like, right up there. And as I understand it, the procedure for correcting that is that they make a little incision and they literally, like, cut the tissue. And I don't know if there's like tissue under the actual skin that they then like extract or what, but you know. Anyway, I'm not really sure whether that gap in my teeth is too much of an issue, because it's much smaller now than it was, although I guess that would equate to a higher pitch of the sibilance, which might be just as bad. But, you know, we'll see. Man, this just keeps going. We're almost at, what, 56,000 blocks? That's, I mean, that's kind of crazy. I'm happy to see that our hunger hasn't been going down too much. It stayed more or less the same for quite a while now, it looks like. It's funny, I don't think we've seen a single portal this direction. There hasn't been anything, really. But by virtue of someone having tunneled out so far, I have to assume that there's eventually going to be something for us to see. I might have Baritone complete the journey for us. I also probably should have invested in finding some diamond gear and making some obsidian so that we can make a return portal if necessary and get to the underworld, you know, get our resources in order. Maybe... we may be nearing the end if these items are any indication. Interesting that everything prior to that would despawn. Especially since this appears to keep going if the minimap isn't lying to us. I wonder if someone else had the same idea and was using Baritone. Alright. I think we'll do this this last 200 blocks, and then... or I guess 100 now, and then we'll call it, and when I come back, when next you see me, we'll be using Meteor Client. See where we can go. Anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. I hope it was as fun to watch as it was for me to play. I'm really glad to have found, you know, things to kind of be able to share with you guys, at least, you know, what little we have found thus far. It really is a great weight off my shoulders to kind of be able to finally, you know, finally play the server in earnest, see what I could have seen all those years ago. Although it is a little upsetting that the map has reset since. Anyhow. we'll be back around for tonight's stream, scheduled stream for Crosscode, and yeah, I'll see you all next time. Have a great one.